Good morning, colleagues. I want to propose that we must start. So I must mute myself here, right? What am I supposed to do? Here, right, Manj? Okay. It's the petitioners. Good morning once more, the honorable members. Let's take this opportunity to greet our stakeholders who are present here today, the petitioners and the various responding authorities that have joined us from the different spheres of government. I know that the city of Johannesburg is meant to join us today, the city of Kuruleni, the provincial departments which are represented by the Economic Development Department and the Human Settlements Department as well. I want to also greet the support staff of the committee who are at the center of the administration and they're running on behalf of the daily running on behalf of the committee. So ngalenza sanonke ndiyanibulisa bethunana molweni. My name is Vuyiswa Gentile, and I am the chairperson of this committee, the Standing Committee on Petitions, and by default, I'm also the member of the Legislature in Gauteng. And I want to take this opportunity to welcome all of you to this hearing today. I'm not here alone, as you may know. There are members who are here today, and I would request that the members introduce themselves, starting from, this is my left, and then going to my right. And after that, I'm going to request that we have the support staff introducing themselves for purposes of the stakeholders, so that they can be able to put the face to the person, because I know that behind closed doors you deal with people through emails and phone calls. Then after that, if both the municipalities are here, I would request that through their leader of the delegates here, that they introduce themselves. Maybe you'll advise us if the leader of your delegation wants to introduce all of you, or you would just introduce yourselves. But also after that, we'll then have the departments, if they're all here, to introduce themselves. And then after the departments, I'm going to request, if the petitioners are here, that they also introduce themselves, just your name, and you can just indicate where you come from. So it will be the honorable members, the support staff. It will then be the 2 local municipalities that are here, or the cities that are here. It will then be the provincial departments. After the provincial departments, it will then be the petitioners. So in that sequence, honorable members, you can then start. Thank you so much.
Good morning. Thank you, Chairperson. My name is Leanne Diaga.
Thank you very much, Chair. My name is Bitumelo Makene, and I'm a member of the committee.
Good morning, Chair, and good morning to members as well. My name is Greg Schneeman, and I'm also a member of this committee.
Thank you so much. I know that there's a member that has joined us online. Can you quickly introduce yourself, member? It could be network issues. Can you hear us, member Mhlongo? Okay. Can we then move to the support staff of the committee? We'll start on my left, move to my right.
Morning, Chair, and good morning, honorable members, Ndimachero, everyone, and colleagues. My name is Mburayeni Likade. Thank you.
Good morning, Chairperson, honorable members, colleagues, and our fellow stakeholders. My name is Seno Totiani, Petitions Officer.
Good morning, honorable members and colleagues. My name is Jabulisile Shabalala from the Petitions Office. Thank you, Chair.
Good morning, honorable members and colleagues. My name is Mosa Mag. I'm also from the Petitions Office.
Morning, honorable members and stakeholders. I'm Simpiwe Ngwane, a researcher supporting the committee. Thank you.
Good morning, honorable members and colleagues and the stakeholders. My name is Nombulelo Mfuku, supporting the Petitions Committee. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Good morning, members. My name is Zagele. I'm a support for the committee. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Suza. Can I check if the cities are here, the municipalities? Okay. So both they are not here. Are the departments here? Can we then introduce ourselves?
Good morning, committee members. Good morning, petitioners. I'm Henry James Sokwane from the Department of Economic Development. I'm responsible for Human Resources Administration. I'm accompanied by Mr. David Lutswalo, who is the appointed person for facilitating submissions to the Provincial Legislature. Thank you.
So there's just one from the department? Or there are two? Yeah.
Thanks, Chair. I've just been introduced by Mr. Henry Sokwane. I'm David Lutswalo from Office of the HOD Economic Development.
No, thank you so much. I have a sense that Human Settlements is not here. They are not here yet. Can we then have the petitioners that are here to introduce themselves? We can start with the petitioner on irregular pension payout.
Good morning. My name is Thelma Nono Tansi from Ridgeway. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma. Can we then have the petitioner on the Klipfontein water shortage?
Am I audible?
You are audible.
Okay, thank you so much. Good morning, Chair. Good morning, everybody. The esteemed leaders in the room. My name is Pilani Memela. I'm representing the Klipfontein View petition. That's basically who I am. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Can we then have the petitioner from the RDP houses in Jerusalem.
Good morning, honorable members. My name is Priscilla, representing petitioners from Jerusalem Housing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The petitioner from the delays in the construction of RDP houses in Ivory Park. They are not here. The request for the title deeds. The petitioner.
Good morning, Chair and members. My name is Victor Butinzima. I came here for the request of the title deed. Thank you.
Siyabonga baba. Ngicela the last one because the chair of chairs is not here for the water outage in Johannesburg. The one for the review of the subsidy application.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Baachile Joseph Mvula. I'm from Ekurhuleni Boksburg on the request for review on my housing subsidy application. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Is there anyone that I have left out? There is none. I felt we must do this exercise, honorable members. Such that we don't address people that do not know who we are and who they are then dealing with, but also for us to also put the face even before the presentation of the petition, such that there's some sort of common ground in terms of the work that we must then be able to do as the committee. I welcome you once more. I'm not sure if ni comfortable masikhuluma ngesilungu kuphela or nizafuna ukuthi sihambe siyimixa. Because I don't think we have the I don't think we have the translating devices. Songs azama for purposes of those who can't hear isilungu ukuthi ngimane ngimixa nesintu. But we do welcome you. We have an appreciation that you are able to exercise your democratic right of petitioning. I know that we are not seeing a lot of people in different regions of the province who are petitioning, and we want to applaud you that you had trusted the process of the committee to be able to handle your issues. Of course, this internal hearing is convened on a very important month, the month of the human rights, where we commemorate and importantly reflect on the work that is being done and still needs to be done to safeguard our human rights, as enshrined in our Constitution, Chapter 2 of the Bill of Rights. The Petition Standing Committee is just one of the mechanisms that is meant to help to ensure that our human rights are protected, and as a process of realizing all our rights as enshrined in the Constitution, as we would have indicated. And the petitions process must be enhanced as a tool at the hands of our people. I think importantly, last year in October, the Gauteng City Region Observatory released the 7th Quality of Life Survey, and the survey would have shown 54% of the people of the province felt that all 3 spheres of government have failed to improve their lives. The survey also indicated that approximately 1 of 10 respondents reported to have raised concerns around their local councillors, or a signed petition, or wrote a letter of complaint, or joined a social media campaign, or a group of resistance or something. So there would have been more of people who are dissatisfied with service delivery. And this is clearly indicated. And I think 54% is such a huge number. Then it means that indeed democracy would have matured, and people are able to then realize that not all is well. As indicated by the quality of life in the survey, great work needs to be done to improve the quality of lives of our residents in the province. And a formal petitioning process must then be able to safeguard the residents of this province, and it must be used as a mechanism to be able to fight for our people, but also not forgetting that there is Municipal Petitions Committee, and I think this will then be able to be clearly outlined when the bill has then been promulgated, where municipalities must then be able to also deal with service delivery issues, because a lot of the petitions that we also get are more municipal related, and we can't from time to time as a committee, subject some of the work, 80% sometimes of the work, where we're only dealing with the local petitions. But we felt that this tool is very important, but also there needs to be strengthening of Section 79 committees in municipalities who must then also be able to drive this work. And when it has failed at that level, it can then come to the committee. Because what is important about this process of petitioning is that you must have exhausted everything before you then come to the committee, and then will then be able to act. As a starting point, let me emphasize that one of the ways of promoting public participation is enabling the people of this province to exercise their constitutional right of petitioning to the legislature to intervene on behalf of their resolving challenges that they face. The petitions process is a mechanism, as I would have indicated, that combines listening and actioning, that creates opportunities for participation. Through these opportunities of participation, we as the committee create platforms for engagement between petitioners and authorities. And that is what we remain. We just remain a vehicle to ensure that whatever that complaint that is brought to us is then able to be resolved by the department, and it must then be done in time. And of course, would have time frames in terms of how things must then be dealt with. And in abnormal situations like we're having today, a situation of some of the petitions that would have been submitted in October, and you would have expected a turnaround time in terms of the response of 20 days, but sometimes it doesn't happen, and we as a committee are committed to strengthening some of the gaps that we have realized. And I think the amendment bill as well, once it has been adopted by the House, it will then be able to address these issues. We're governed by the Act, the Gauteng Petitions Act number 5 of 2002. There's an amendment bill that we're working on. It's no longer 2024 now, it should be 2025, that governs us as a committee in terms of the work that we're doing. The Act, together with the 2016 regulation, lay out how the petitions process works. Matters are prepared and tabled before this committee by the support staff. The honorable members, guided by the Act, deliberate on those submitted petitions and its merit, whether it does meet the criteria of being adopted or just to be rejected. In the case of the petitioners who are here, your petitions would have then been presented to the committee and adopted at some point, and that is why we're then able to do these hearings. And once adopted, the petitions are sent to the identified authorities for formal investigation. It could be municipalities, it could also be the provincial government, depending on that particular petition and what it speaks to. And a reporting period of 20 days that I spoke to, ideally, we would want to get a response in 20 days. And when we do not, we would then want to put an additional 10 days, and we should then be able to feed back. And I think there's a challenge in relation to these particular responding authorities in terms of then responding. And that is why you would then get some sort of delays in our feedback back to yourselves. Once these terms have lapsed and follow-ups are done, the committee exercises its right to convene a hearing as a form of escalation. So that is why we're here today. We felt that the terms have lapsed in relation to some of these petitions that were submitted, and we have convened this hearing in relation to those things. I know that there would be progress reports on some instances in petitions that would have been submitted, but we felt that it's important that we get clarity, and then we are then able to determine if there needs to be continuous work in relation to the reports that will then be given to the committee, or then we determine if indeed we must close the petition. Of course, a closure of the petition does not always satisfy the petitioner, but it's important that we must then indicate that we always try to meet the petitioner, at a level where they are. So today we'll be deliberating on 7 petitions that we have determined that need intervention, and that due to either lack of responses or that the reports were not, satisfying enough, and that were not leading to closure, that we are convening this hearing. The petitions vary from the Human Settlements Department, the 2 on water shortages, the RDP ones are 4. There is 2 on water shortages, and there's also 1 on the irregular pension payout. These proceedings of the day will unfold as follows. We'll start with the petitions officer will lead us on the petition. After that, we'll then have the petitioner to ascertain that indeed what has then been read to us is a true reflection of what they would have submitted. So, mayeqeda kuyifunda uba i-petition oyisubmithile sizocela njenge-petitioner ume, and in the case kamama onentonga angahlala maybe mase kuyena phansi asitshele nje kahle ukuthi ngoba seyichaziwe i-petition, is it a true reflection of what you would have then submitted? And from there, we'll then request the department, or rather the responding authority, to then give us a progress report in relation to the matter, and then we'll then open up to honorable members to engage, given the report. After that, we will then check if the petitioner has any, additional remarks or clarity-seeking questions in relation to what is then presented by the department. And then the committee will then give a determination in terms of how we then move on that particular petition that is then tabled. So importantly, the closure of the petition is determined by the committee, guided by Section 7G, which reads, the committee must conclude its considerations of a petition if it resolves that no steps or no further actions can then be taken to settle the matter to the satisfaction of the petitioner. So, of course, on our closing, we'll then make a determination as a committee in our discussions, as well guided by what is presented to ourselves, if indeed we think we must then close that petition. But also would have also, as we're saying, checked with the petitioner if indeed they are also satisfied with some of the responses given by the department. And that said, we also need to be aware that the rights do not have limitations as outlined in Section 36 of the Constitution. So the role of the committee is to assess the quality and substance of the reports, guide deliberations with the petitioners, and ultimately make a determination if a matter has been exhausted and no reasonable steps can be taken. So I think this speaks exactly to what I would have spoken to. So mase sikwenze konke thina singamalungu ekomiti sizoxoxa ukuthi siyayibona ukuthi sifike at the end of what we think could be the resolve, or we think there could be other further steps that we must then advise the department or the responding authority in relation to how then the petition must be submitted. So I hereby open this internal hearing, and I hope that we'll have fruitful engagements and that we'll then be able to meet you lapho nidinga khona ngoba umuntu maseyifikile lana, it's someone who's really aggrieved and who has set and realized ukuthi this is the only institution that can help them. So ndiyanamkela nonke, and I hope then we'll have progressive engagements. Can I check, Nombu, if we have any apologies?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, we do have apologies that were submitted. We have Member Ali. She won't be able to attend this meeting. She's attending Opol, which is clashing with this meeting. Then Member Miller, Member Siteka, Member Maluka, and Chairperson Ditswalo will join the meeting a little bit later, Chair. Thank you.
Can we check if the honorable members who are here, maybe you can check them on WhatsApp, are able to join us virtually. Maybe at their convenience, there could be commitment somewhere, maybe in party business. But I think it's important because this is one of the first internal hearings that we're having as this administration, that they must then be able, because there is that link that would have then been provisioned for, because I know that this cluster, there are other governance structure cluster in particular that we are sitting here today, but also those who are also in committee, not only committee business, but also in party business. So I would want to check if they are then able to join us, and if they are able to join us, we can then send on the group for them to join us virtually. I'm going to request that we then move to, before that, the agenda. There's an agenda presented to ourselves. I would have done the opening and welcoming, and we've also dealt with the apologies. And there's a determination that we do meet quorum, am I correct? And that we can officially start with the meeting. Honorable members, the agenda before yourselves, can I check if you are comfortable with the agenda? But I want to propose amendments to the agenda that we deal with the irregular pension payout as 3.1, and then the water crisis in the city of Johannesburg become the last items, and that we deal with the city of Johannesburg on water crisis, and then we deal with the human settlements one. So meaning the first one will be the 3.1, we move 3.2 and 3.3 to the last ones, and then we then deal with 3.2, 3.4, 3.5 as 3.2, 3.3, 3.4. So it's a proposal from my side on the basis that you would have realized that one of the petitioners is the chair of chairs, who is not here now because there's a different program, but would have requested that he will then leave his program early to join this internal hearing. So that is the proposed agenda with those amendments. I want to check if you want to entertain it as we welcome Ntate. Honorable members. Member Chair.
I move to, I propose that the changes are accepted.
I'm sorry, Member Chichaka. There's a mover. Are you moving?
I move for the amendment.
Member Schneemann?
Chair, I'd like to second. Thank you.
No, thank you so much. The agenda is now adopted. It's fine. Can we then move to the first petition, which is the irregular pension payout, and the responding authority is the Department of Economic Development.
Thank you, Chair. Can I request Mayor Thelma to approach the table, and also request representatives, officials from the Department of Economic Development also to come forward, please.
The department has joined as well? The table?
Yes, Chair.
I think we can start at your convenience, Mbuli. I just want to, yeah.
No, thanks, Chair. And good morning once again, Ndimachironi. Chair, the first petition that we are going to deal with, it is irregular pension payout dispute, registration number PP31A 0424 EC. The petitioner is Mrs. Thelma Ntombizanele Tansi. Is an elderly mother residing at 36 Liesel Street, Richway, Extension 5, Johannesburg, who alleges that she encountered significant challenges during and following her service in the public sector, which ultimately led to her current state of financial hardships. With an 18-year tenure, she retired from a position as Chief Director of Corporate Services at the Gauteng Department of Economic Development, facing financial difficulties attributed to the department incompetence. According to her account, she was dismissed by the department after a lengthy disciplinary process in 2012. However, she successfully contested this dismissal through an arbitration process with the GPSSBC, which stands for the General Public Service Sector Bargaining Council. She indicates that while a dismissal was under review, the department proceeded with its exit policy and instructed the Government Employee Pension Fund to disperse the pension contributions, resulting in a payment of 484,181.42 before deduction. Following this, she engaged a legal representatives who effectively defended her during the arbitration, leading to a restatement award in her favor in June 2014. The award letter indicated that she was reinstated without any loss of benefits, requiring her return without any detriment to her benefits. Nevertheless, the department failed to fully implement the award from June 2014 until her retirement on 31 July 2020 led to various financial and administrative issues, negatively impacting her pension and employment benefits. She claims that due to the department's error in processing a pension while a dismissal was under review, she was subsequently informed by the GEPF that she owed 800,000 after her retirement in 2020, despite having notified the Human Resource Department of the Gauteng Department of Economic Development to recover the owed funds upon her reinstatement. She experienced challenges with the GEPF in rectifying her pension contributions. Chair, the petition was before the committee. It was adopted and further subsequent to that referred to the Department for Investigation and Reporting on the 25th of April, that is 2024. There were numerous follow-ups that were done, Chair, with regard to this matter, to the department requesting progress reports. To date, Chair, those reports are still outstanding. We hope that by convening this hearing, Chair, the department is in a position to begin to respond to the issues that are before the committee. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Mbuli. We were lucky because the former chair of the committee is here and does look like a labor relations matter, but because we're here and that the committee would have adopted in principle. So it then means we must then be able to entertain it. Can I just check with the petitioner if indeed that which has been read is a true reflection, and if there are any additions, we'll then give you that opportunity to then speak to the petition itself. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Ungahlala phansi, mama, kongxaki.
Thank you very much, Chair. It is indeed a true reflection. Thank you.
Is there anything that you want to add at this particular point? Maybe that has then been left out in... There's nothing.
I'm quiet because I didn't hear that issues pertaining to the losses that one incurred mentioned. I'm hoping in the process we will get to that.
the costs incurred in relation to the efforts to get the money. Is that what you are speaking to, ma?
The costs incurred in relation to the department not following proper procedures.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right. Honorable members, I want, before maybe we give the department, if there's any form of clarity, I am suspecting, because this is a pension. Pension is what you contribute. Am I correct? I'm not sure how then the department would have. Yeah, it's not clear. But let me give honorable members, maybe for clarity-seeking questions before we then give the department, and then we'll give the department. From the department's response, we'll give the petition, and then back to honorable members. There are any clarity-seeking questions, honorable members? Member Lutswalo?
I'm not so sure whether it's a clarity-seeking question per se, because I think you are quite correct in your assertion that it is a labor matter. And I suppose we might want to deal with it somewhat different, particularly because it's before us, you know. And Mama is also here. And you know, when you are dealing with elderly people, so that we are not just formalistic, you know, in engaging the department. There's a process that would have been followed. But can I get that the Mama department? So what? You are from HR?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you know, I would have preferred a different, you know. Chairperson, I'm saying I would have preferred different, because we may not particularly be assisted. We needed the HOD and the MEC. And I'm not particularly sure why we don't have the MEC and the HOD. Is there a reason?
Maybe we may have missed when they were introducing themselves. What positions are you holding in the department?
I'm responsible for Human Resources Administration, and
Okay.
Mr. Lutswalo is in the Office of the Head of Department.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe it's okay, Chair. Let's hear the report. But I suspect if the report does not avail us to the necessary intervention or solution, we may have to hold this matter in abeyance and get the MEC and the HOD, you know, so that we deal with it through a differentiated process, you know. But of course, let's hear what HR has to say, and then we'll still come back to reflect on it.
No, I agree with you. Maybe that is what we must do at the end. But here we're presented with a situation where they are all here now. Let's give them an opportunity. But maybe as part of the recommendations when we close up, because I don't want us to give some sort of preempt kind of, because we're not sure what is in the report. But I would have opened for clarity, because some of the issues to me are not too clear. But let's allow the department, if the honorable members allow, maybe from the department side, we'll then be able to get a clear indication of what seems to be complex before us. But also I want to check with the team if this would have been adopted in April last year. Is there any report that, or any interaction that, nothing from the department? Okay, let's allow them that opportunity. Over to yourselves, colleagues.
Good morning once more, Chairperson. Good morning, committee members. Chairperson, the events as outlined by Ms. Tansi is a true reflection of what unfolded up until the time where the department was instructed to reinstate Ms. Tansi to the former position of Chief Director for Kiodi. Chairperson, the other matter that we need to understand is that there was a discharge of Ms. Tansi. And in terms of the Labour Relations Act, all benefits due to Ms. Tansi, subject to an appeal, must be processed. That meaning any leave owed to her, any bonuses owed to her, and also obviously the contributions and the benefits that come with that what she has made to the Government Employees Pension Fund chairperson was all paid out. It needs to be further stated that in addition, after the discharge, Ms. Tansi then took this matter under review to the GPSSBC as outlined in the introduction of this matter. And subject to her award of reinstatement, I think the other matter that was not highlighted there is that there was a settlement agreement, Chairperson. And in that settlement agreement, there was an amount that was agreed to be paid out to Ms. Tansi in lieu of her benefits, Chairperson. When Ms. Tansi then won the award, the department was instructed to reinstate her as if she was never discharged. So meaning from the date that she was formally discharged up until the date of her pensionable date. That was corrected, Chairperson. All the benefits that was due to her for the period that she would have lost out, all benefits that would accrue to any public servant, meaning salary adjustments, service bonus, the possibility of pay progression, all of those was paid out, Chairperson. And I think on slide number 4, all of those transactions are articulated to all the benefits that was due to Ms. Tansi and paid to her in those particular periods. I have taken the liberty of also attaching the evidence in terms of the parcel system transactions that relate to all of those payments, Chairperson. Now that's the first part. The second part, Chairperson, is that the department facilitated in terms of the discharge of Ms. Tansi, the payment of a pension, all the benefits that was due to her, and on her reinstatement, Ms. Tansi was informed that for her to be able to ensure that she enjoys all the benefits when she then exits the public service at her pensionable age of 65, there is an opportunity for her to buy back the service from the Government Employees Pension Fund in regularizing, or what we call aligning, her benefits to ensure that when she retires as if those benefits are intact, which means there's no break of service that she would have experienced. Unfortunately, Chairperson, Ms. Tansi did not exercise that particular option. excuse me. Yes, correct. There is a word missing. The department affected the payments. As indicated, every year for the period of her discharge, there are certain benefits due to her in terms of the department correcting her reinstatement into the public service. As indicated, like her cost of living adjustment, what we call normally our salary increases. Also due to her would be what we call her service bonus for that period when she was discharged, that would have paid back to her. And also the fact that she would have qualified for what we call a notch progression, which means based on performance, she would have gone another notch. All those transactions are articulated there, and in the PDF attachment, those are all the evidence that those payments was made to Ms. Tanzi. Were paid back to her, sir, yes.
Is that the end of the report?
No, Chairperson. As indicated, what we call a buyback service quotation was obtained from the Government Employees Pension Fund, presented to Ms. Tanzi for her to exercise the option to buy back the service. Unfortunately, as stated there, Ms. Tanzi chose not to exercise that option, and there are all the communique and the engagement between ourselves and the GEPF in terms of facilitating that buyback option for Ms. Tanzi. I think I've already articulated that there was also a settlement agreement, and the department determines that this matter is closed. Thank you, Chairperson.
Honorable members, are you able to get a sense? You know, for me, it's a bit complex and confusing. Maybe we would want you to, we're waiting just for our legal person to get here as well to be able to assist us as a committee. Take us, I know this is a presentation, but just take us step by step, and from time to time, let's interact with them, like Lutswalo would have done. Just take us, let's start with the presentation where it starts. Maybe it's going to assist us in clarifying. So the understanding is that Umama would have been released from her duties for whatever reasons, because that is a labor relations matter. And there was then a payout due to her on pension, which would have contributed. And upon her reinstatement, she would have taken the portion for the years that she would have worked for and other benefits of the department. Are we fine? She would have cashed out, right? Yeah. Hence, I'm saying maybe in layman's terms, because the reality is that we are politicians, you know, and we would want, maybe you in your presentation, it would not be too clear. So she would have then cashed out when she was released, and maybe you can then get in on the conditions of her reinstatement in relation to the pensions and other payouts that would have been due to her when she then decides to leave the department. I'm not sure if that would assist us, honorable members. Maybe we can start it there. But also a clarity in terms of these benefits, because what are we looking at here? Umama, is she here seeking for pension after she was reinstated, or did she get a pension that she contributed on her reinstatement up until she had gone to pension? What are we looking at here? And maybe just uncomplicate it for us, because it's a bit complicated, those things of the dates. Those dates and those payments, what do they mean? And then we'll then be able, as the committee, I'm not sure if I'm able to cover you, honorable members, in terms of the clarity, and then we're able to follow. Are we fine? Yeah, let's allow you. Let me allow you, Honorable Letswan. It's becoming precedented that you don't allow yourself to be allowed. Let's allow you, let's allow you.
Yeah, because, I mean, the report doesn't give a holistic account. I mean, there's a talk of a settlement. We don't even know the quantum of the settlement, you know. We don't know how the department would have assisted Mama in their dealings, because GEPF, ordinarily there are interactions. I mean, as in when somebody gets hired, there are interactions with the HR, you know. It's not as if individually you go and engage. Of course, there are forms that you would fill and so on. So when we say buyback, I'm not so sure the service package, what does that entail? You know? Buyback what? And then we also speak about benefits. You know, and we said all the benefits were paid. What is this that Mama is missing? Maybe we must also hear from her. What is
it that she's seeking?
What is it? Yeah, you know. Is it maybe gratuity? Is it annuity? Is it lump sum payment that was due? We also need to get that understanding.
Okay.
You know, I think it will assist us a great deal.
Yeah. Are you done? Yeah. Maybe let's allow you, Mama. Also, it will assist to empower the department maybe on clarity. What is it that we are looking for? But also, if possible, speak as well to the presentation according to your understanding of the events. And then it would then assist us in coming to clarity and understanding of what we're dealing with.
Okay, thank you very much. Maybe just a bit of a background. I got appointed to work for the Department of Economic Development in 2002, the 1st of September. I'm raising this because it becomes important so that when we get to GEPF, we understand that for how long do you have to be in the department to qualify when you retire for a gratuity and an annuity. Having said so, in 2011, I got suspended and subsequently dismissed by the Department of Economic Development. At that stage, I am 9 years in employment. Immediately, I got fired on the 12th of March, 2012. We get paid a salary on the 15th of March, on the 15th of the month. There was no salary at the bank on the 15th, 3 days later after my dismissal. I immediately file. Before the 15th, I file an appeal. Maybe I pause here to say, I'm not sure what the policy of the department says when somebody is fired and there is an appeal. I raise that.
Just Njema, I want us such that we don't go back to make this session, honorable members, as interactive as possible. That when we speak of 2011, you are suspended on which month? Do you remember?
I don't quite remember the month, to be honest.
And there are then internal processes of, I'm assuming, disciplinary processes.
Yes.
And you get a letter.
Yes.
On which date of March in 2012?
It was dated the 12th of March, 2012.
12th of March. Which in your assumption, and you were getting paid when there was this process of suspension?
Yes.
Okay. And the assumption would have been on the 15th, because this was then a full month, a salary would have then been paid, yes, which would have been your 10th year at the department.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Okay, let's continue, ma.
Okay. All right, I was at a point where I was saying I immediately filed an appeal. Interestingly, I have worked in human resources. I've dealt with such matters. What I know is that once there is an appeal, the process continues as though I was still in the system until the final outcome of the appeal. And only then do you get to take out what was paid between the time when one is fired up to the end of the appeal from the pension payout. But in this instance, it happens differently. I then get reinstated in terms of the Public Service Bargaining Council's award. And I am saying reinstated, meaning that I will continue employment as though there were no break in service.
You are reinstated on which date, ma? Do you remember the date?
Do you want to remind me? No, please don't. It was the 16th of July when I got told that I could come back to work. But because there were still certain things, 16th of July 2014.
So the reinstatement would have been informed by the appeal process?
No.
So the appeal process, maybe you can, what happened from the time of appeal? Is there any, when you would have appealed, there would have been a process and there would then be maybe a resolve in relation to that appeal? Because there is 2012 to 2014 and you would have appealed immediately. Are there any, resolve of the appeal that you would have put immediately after your dismissal, honourable member?
Maybe even on the appeal.
Yes.
Let's get a sense of which forum was the appeal lodged.
Yeah.
I think that will assist us.
Maybe I should say that the process that dismisses me is an internal process. I don't want to go to the detail of that process. Yes, it has dismissed me. I now take the matter to the bargaining council that handles the appeal. The outcome of that appeal process is that I have to be reinstated without any loss of benefits. Now, what that means, in my understanding, was that if I am reinstated, it means my understanding of reinstate is that you take the person back to where the person was before the dismissal. Immediately in July 2014, when I went back there, they gave me a letter that said reinstatement. I started understanding that we've got a problem here. I raised that with HR. Nothing was done. I actually even mentioned that the re-employment means that I am starting from A, as though I am a new employee, and it will have challenges when I exit the system. Unfortunately, nothing happened, and I know that I mentioned a list of HR practitioners who were involved in the matter. I should also state that they then paid me the benefits between 2012 and 2014 in salary. I should also state that because of the error that they have committed in terms of the pension payout. In July 2012, I get paid an amount as a pension payout before deductions. And obviously, because I am employed, one would obviously have debts. And for that reason, you will use whatever that you've got in your pocket so that you don't lose your house, so that you don't lose all the other assets that you have. I am back at work. Maybe let me say that it is not a fact that HR then said I must do a buyback. It is when HR was clearly unable to action the reinstatement award. Firstly, they say that they are re-employing me. I write to them and state that it can be a re-employment because these are the implications of re-employment. I then continue to say, please let's work on the reinstatement and correct what should be done. HR comes with a proposal to me that they've gotten from the GEPF. Obviously, it will be erroneous given the fact that they have not told GEPF the facts. GEPF knows that I am out of the system. I want to come back. Now I've got to buy back 2 years. Remember, I left when I was almost 10 years in the system. When I come back, it is a few years later. And when they see that there is going to be a gap of 2 years, when I retire at the age of 65, they then say I must buy back 2 years. I refuse to buy back the 2 years because I say to them, it will look like I am acceding to the fact that I do not have more than 10 years in the system. And that is the reason why I did not even look at that. The issue with regards the settlement, it is when the department was not acting on the outcome of the award, on the award that was issued by the bargaining council. Then I wrote to the MEC. It was actually before before MEC Maile at that stage, to say that I'm left with so many years in the system. How about we reach a settlement? That was not entertained. The reason it was not entertained is because there was a change of administration more or less around that time. So a new MEC came in place, and I then began to engage with that MEC, who happens to be MEC Maile. He is the one that then said, maybe let's look at a reinstatement. The reason there was a delay with reinstating, among others, is because the department was bent on a review. They were going to take the matter to, I think, to the labor court, because I was told that I should go back to work, and this is the date that I should go back to work and start working. I think it was about 2 months or 3 months after I had received the reinstatement award. The department sent me a message via a security officer that I shouldn't come back to work because this matter is under review. So I'm still at home until MEC Maile comes on board. He examines the matter and he says, yes, please come back. Fast forward, in 2017, I then engage eGov who is responsible for HR transactions to say, please check for me what has happened to, or what is happening to my pension, given the fact that I have come back, I have been reinstated. They then say to me, I show them my pay slip. They agree that there is pension going out. I now have a different pension number. And as a result, the pension is going out every month, but to unclaimed funds. I go back to the department and tell them that this is the case with my pension. In essence, I'm doing work for HR. I go back to the department and tell them that this is the case. So now that we know that there is a pension, let's also try and work on it coming to the new pension number. The department, ever since 2014, has not gone to GEPF to say, please rectify this. This person is back here, not as a re-employment, but as a reinstatement. That does not get done until I go on pension. Now, I engage a commercial lawyer to assist me with this issue. In assisting me, we then determine that GEPF cannot action, given the fact that there is no directive from the department. Now, 11 months lapse. I'm sitting at home. I am a pensioner. I'm not receiving a salary. And based on that, I incurred actuarial interest on the initial amount that was paid out by the department, which they had said should be paid back. And I think more or less this is where I am. I was going to ask a few questions from Mr. Shokwane, but I don't think it is necessary anymore, given the fact that I have been given an opportunity to explain myself. And I think that is where my story begins. It is the reason there is that 800,000, because it is actually the actuarial interest that GEPF took due to the failure of the department to implement the award. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I think you're allowed to ask the questions for the benefit of the committee. So let's allow you to ask those questions such that they're also covered. We don't take it for granted that the fact that you would have presented your case, that they would have a sense of where you are in terms of the questions. So you are allowed on record to ask the questions.
Yeah, in Tate Shokwane, I just need to have your clarity in terms of why would I be told to buy back pension, having explained the situation to you.
Is that the only question, ma'am?
And also just a bit of clarity in terms of the policy related to appeals, particularly when somebody gets dismissed. Thanks, Chair. That would be the only two questions that I have.
Now, thanks. Let's allow the department. And shortly after the department, honorable members, I'm going to propose that we take a break, because also there are documents that I think here would be of interest. But I think in reality, this is a pure labor relations matter. And we're sitting as a committee, and I was seeing Monica here, that I do not know why as the committee doesn't have a legal person sitting in the committee full time. Because this would have not even been adopted to start with. It means that as a committee, we would have then just adopted previously, maybe, because of the pressure of the committee. But, if there is someone here that then able to pick up if anything is not in line in terms of the act, But we are here now, then I guess we must then be able to deal with this. So I'm going to request that we get this report. I know that there are other petitioners that would have indicated the issues of time, but I would want us to break immediately after that, such that we see these documents together. And then I agree with you, maybe a resolution as well, to escalate this issue straight to the MEC. Is it MEC Maile? But I'm going to request for that maybe, the clarity response in relation to what is presented, but also what I would have requested in my initial remarks. And then soon after that, since I would tell honorable members with the team, and we are able then to guide our resolution in relation to the matter. Over to yourself, Dad.
Can I start with the last two questions from Mastanzi? The first question is, why buyback? You buy back because you are trying to align the service. And according to our records, we've paid out the money to Mastanzi. So, which means what we are saying is that because we've paid you and we're going to align again, in our view, it is double dipping. So we've paid you, now we need to correct, which means we must pay back so that it is corrected when we've already paid you out. So that's the principle of buyback. But that is not a departmental principle, that is in terms of the GEPF law. And the second question is the issue of the appeal. Ms. Tansi is correct. When I am discharged and I lodge an appeal, the process halts. It's only when my appeal is upheld, the process starts of exiting and discharging me. Whether I go outside of the department, we then wait for an award to say what is the award, but for that period between the appeal either being upheld or the appeal not being upheld, we then process certain activities.
Honorable Tswalo, do we have this, the letter of reinstatement, the reward? Do we have it in our documents? Also, I think as we are going to break it, will also assist us. Let me allow you, Ntatel Tswalo.
Thank you very much, Chair. I think you are quite correct, and I was going to ask that. Where is this arbitration award? And did the department implement it as recorded, or did it vary the award, the terms of the award, in reinstating Mama? And then secondly, it's the question about the accruing interest. But maybe even before then, I just want to confirm, Mama mentioned something, I didn't quite get it. I wanted to check whether Mama did receive the pension payout, because earlier on Mama said, I had to save and so on. But I wasn't sure what she was relating that to. Was it the pension payout? And then again, I want to go back to the settlement. Was the settlement entered into between the two parties? Was it signed? We have a copy of the settlement agreement. And what would have been the contents, particularly as it relates to a reconciliation, of the 2 years lapse. It was a 2-year lapse. Did the settlement, express itself on that, including the process of a buyback? Because obviously with that, the computation of the buyback would not necessarily be fixed, Because I mean, with CPIX every year, a pension, collection sort of increases a bit, per percentage. So I'm still wondering how would the computation have been done, and how both parties, particularly the department, rationalized what may have been a shortfall in respect of the pension contribution, and whether it was expected to be supplemented by mom, So it would have assisted if we had the settlement agreement. If there was a settlement to begin with, because it sort of places us at a disadvantage when you don't have all this thoroughgoing information. Maybe let me leave it there, Chair.
Let's allow the department, and soon after your response, I will request that honorable members, we gather here to the front to quickly, because there are documents here. Of course, for us to be able to entertain a petition and for its adoption, it must have had supporting documents to that effect. But I think also another, what we may need to change in our administration is that some of these things we must then be empowered as well before, the attachments, as we get these petitions, such that we also don't delay the proceedings of the committee. But let's allow you to respond. But before that, let's allow Mama. Was there a point where you would have withdrawn the pension in this period you were not in employment, but also the clarity in relation to the losses that you would have indicated as Ntateli Tswalo is speaking to? But also, Mama, also just in layman's terms, I think I get the issue of the appeal from this process. What are you looking for? What is your expectation vis-a-vis what the department as well is communicating, such that at least as we break, we then have an idea. It will be you, and then after you is our department.
Thanks, Chair. When I was dismissed and I filed an appeal, the department continued to instruct GEPF to pay me the amount of pension that I already had contributed. So that already means that I don't have anything left. And maybe to respond to Ntate in terms of the dikoloto that I mentioned I had. Obviously, I did not expect that there is going to be a dismissal and therefore a halt in payment, in salary payments. Now, I get dismissed in March. It's end of March. I don't have a salary. End of April, end of May, end of June. Somewhere around, I think it was somewhere around the 16th, 18th of July, then there is a lump sum of money that comes into my account minus some deductions. And this is the pension payout because I have been discharged from the system. It is the money that I am saying I've had to use it because, I mean, if you don't pay a car, you stop at a mall and you see people running behind you wanting their car. That is what I'm talking about. And sorry, it makes me emotional. That is one thing. The bank is also running after me because I am not paying the bond. That is what I was talking about. And obviously, I don't know what's going to happen to me. I've got this slightly less than 481,000 rand for the rest of my life until I know there is going to be a change. So that is the initial payout that I was referring to. The settlement that we have been referred to was abandoned when the administration changed, because there was no action from the side of the department, and that there was an award that the department told me they were not going to action because they were taking the matter on review. So instead of us going on review, I started then saying to them, can we negotiate for a settlement? But yes, that did not fall through given what I've already explained. I do have the arbitration award, and maybe after the break, I will be in a position to retrieve it and share. The issue on the actuarial interest, remember that I then owe GEPF 400 and something thousand because I've withdrawn from the kitty. Now, at the end of the service, they then say, remember that we paid you. There is no double dipping. Remember that we paid you this amount of money. And if that amount of money had stayed in our coffers, it would have generated this amount. And it's not an interest as though it's it's a normal interest. They call it actuarial interest. And that is where I'm coming from. And that amount from 481,000, when I exited, it had already become 800,000. Now I am saying this is the negligence. This is negligence on the part of the department. And I am saying because of their negligence, I have had to incur losses in the sense that for 11 months I am not getting a salary because they also delayed in actioning this. I remember I've had to engage a lawyer. I've had to go to GEPF and sit with, what do we call this guy? It's the administrator of GEPF to make him understand what exactly the situation is. For the first time, GEPF understood that this was actually a reinstatement, which the department failed to action. Thanks.
No, thank you so much. I think more than, the losses, there's also so much emotional distress that Mama suffered in the process. And we truly want to really apologize that we've had to go through such, a distressful process. The assumption, honorable members, is that if there's an appeals process, it must then hold any process from the department in terms of, but then there would have been an instruction to pay out the pension when there was this process. But also, it's the emotional distress that Mama is indicating. I want to check, Ma'am, upon your reinstatement, such that we have an understanding when we go to the reinstatement letter. It would have spoken to in reinstatement with all benefits from the date where you would have been discharged of your duties, or it would have just spoken of the reinstatement from the date. The date, where there was an arbitration award. So if we can get clarity on that. But two, I want to check if there were any monies paid to you when you then came back. In relation to the period that you were not there, are the monies that were paid to yourself outside the pension? And then we'll then give data after you, and then we'll take a 5 minutes break to give. I'm not sure, honourable members, member Boitumelo, member Tshaka, if you want to supplement submit any questions before, yeah. Let's give you member Tshaka.
No, Chairperson, I'm happy with your summary of the situation. I understand now what happened. I have my own, I'll tell you once we read the documents.
Okay. Member Boitumelo, we are fine. Let's give you Mama, just maybe to put us at ease if these have really happened in relation to these questions. Member Lutsalo, let's give you before Mama.
Also says, he explains to us what an appeal process is, which we all know. But why? I mean, if there's an appeal and you are agreeable to the principle of an appeal, why did we proceed? You know, I mean, if by your own weight you are exceeding to the fact that there was an appeal, and it would have held the process in abeyance, why did you continue with the instruction? Why? I mean, it's malicious. It's really just malicious. You know somebody has lost an appeal. And for all intents and purposes, you might envision that there may be prospects or there may be a possibility that that appeal could be upheld. Why do we then continue as if there was no appeal? So how are we resolving? You know, this thing, timeline, 2020. The payments. Where are we? Where is the department in respect of trying to reconcile this impasse? Are there any steps have been taken? You know, because you know, Mama, maybe what Mama might have to do, it's forcing specific performance. You know, it's contempt. It's actually contempt. Or if there was an arbitration award that says reinstate with full benefits or all the benefits, notwithstanding the other part which we may still have to navigate, you know, about the pension payout earlier and the use of it and the buyback. But what would have been the intervention of the department to try to converge, you know, around the malice on the part of having allowed the process to ensue, when in essence there was an appeal, because this is the origination of the problem. You know, this is the origination of the problem. Otherwise, Mama would not have been dismissed. You know, surely the department ought to have said, you know what, we acted mala fides. We think we can converge at this point, so that we strike somewhat of a balance. Because on either end, there are challenges. You know, on the other hand, Mama used the pension monies. And of course, I mean, GEPF has got rules. You know, remember it's a legislative body. It's governed by legislation. You know, if you want continuation, you must then do a pay-in. I guess there was a payout. You do a pay-in, so that there could be that a continuation. You know, but I'm saying at that point, this is where the settlement needed to have reflected these are shortfalls on either part. But hey, let's agree that possibly we resolve to meet each other at this point. But I mean, we don't hear that, you know, coming out. You know, we really don't hear that coming out. So for me, Chair, I would have said, I mean, as per your own directive, let's reflect quickly, because we may have to explore legal remedies. Unfortunately, as the committee, we may not be able to avail Mama to legal remedies, you know, that she would otherwise enjoy in law. Because yeah, there's contempt. You may need to force a performance, or you should have acted this way. You didn't, you know, so that if needs be, Mama can claim damages. Which damages Mama can then use to compensate for the pension fund the shortfall. You know, I just think that could, in a way, bring us closer to funding, some leveling, plateau. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Member Chair.
I concur with the Honourable Member. I think we should rather wait until we can discuss this.
Okay, so can I then request that we take a 13 minutes break? We'll then reconvene exactly at 12 o'clock. I'm going to request that we go to a different committee room, honorable members, maybe with the petition officers, just for you. I think all the support staff actually. Let's meet. Are we sure? Is it free? Yeah. Let's quickly convene. Can I propose that we commence with where we would have left off? I'm not sure if the petitioner is here and Mbono Mama. Okay. Can we kindly have the department back to the table? And no Mama. Sizokwazi ukuqala. Those that were approved, they will look as part of the report of ways of allocating them. Because in different projects. Can we then move to the next petition? Park.
No, thanks, Chair.
Just before that, can we have the petitioner Yako Ivory Park? So if petitioners that we have dealt with their petitions want to be excused, they can be excused. Can we have a petitioner Yase Ivory Park?
Yeah, no, thanks, Chair. The next one is it's related to construction of RDP houses, also, Chair. In Ivory Park, it was submitted in 2019, Chair. The petitioner is Mr. Spusiso Kebashe. Sorry. Submitting this petition on behalf of the community there, Chair. Chair, this petition has been before the committee dating back as 2019. It is related to RDP houses also. There were also a number of engagements between ourselves and the department. The last engagements that we had with the department, it was an inspection in loco. We had a site visit. It was a joint oversight between ourselves, City of Joburg, and the Department of Human Settlement, wherein a report was submitted that indicated that there are 32 layout stands for beneficiaries. And also there was an issue of relocating about 24 beneficiaries to an alternative place so that they can then look into that particular area, Chair. Chair, we have made some follow-ups with regard to progress so far with the department, and we haven't yet received that progress. I think the expectation now, Chair, is to say in terms of the 23 households, in terms of relocation, how far is progress, and also in terms of addressing the issues of the beneficiaries. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you so much. Abusbusiso, i-petition captured ngale ndlela iyo, and is it a true reflection of what you had submitted and what is really happening? Yes. Okay. Let's then get the progress report from the city.
Thank you, Chairperson, honorable members and petitioners. So the report that we have from the City of Johannesburg regarding this project is that, as it was previously stated, there were some inspections that were conducted to locate possible land parcels to relocate the overflow families. Unfortunately, some of those parcels were not suitable to relocate the families. We also had challenges when some families were saying that they want to be moved to a new project and not into another settlement. So with that in mind, the city has acquired 2 portions of land in Region A, one called Allendale, a remainder of portion 10, and one called Ruby Ridge, F1045 and 1375. And there are certain households from various communities that have been paired with this land portion in order to de-densify these portions. Unfortunately, the issue of these settlements is that they are too dense to upgrade in situ, the ones that we call B1s, B2s, and Cs, Mbona being one of them. So the proposed way forward is that the overflow households from this settlement and others within the region are moved to Allendale and Ruby Ridge developments. Those developments, from the city side, there is some progress that we can share with you. The progress is that those portions have been given to HDA as our implementing agent, who will help us develop that property. That property has already gone out to tender, and we have appointed consultants to do the township development. We've also appointed service providers to secure that land and to fence it. It'll be patrolled. Those portions of land are subject to re-invasions time and again. So we have also concluded to appoint security contractors and a contractor to build a wall to secure it. Currently, those 2 land portions are fully invaded. We have spoken to our counterparts at JMPD. Also, through our legal team, we've obtained court interdicts that allow us to evict those households, with the exception of 204 households on Ruby Ridge. So our intention is to develop Ruby Ridge and Allendale over the medium term. As you're aware, the development process does take some time, but we are proposing that these households are paired to that, and we propose to give further updates as the development is ongoing. Thank you, Chair.
No, thank you so much. Honorable members, do you want to input? Maybe I didn't get it. Maybe I'm going to allow you, maybe also. Was there any effort to check with them if they would be comfortable maybe in another live project if it doesn't mean it's in your region? I mean, it's 23, am I correct? So I just want to check if there was such an effort, because I'm worried that the process that we are proposing, especially because the first identified land would have not passed, and it's the petition would have been presented to us a long time ago, and this process as well may take time if there is willingness, maybe if there was an engagement to that effect. But let me allow honorable members as that we then round off when you answer. One.
No, thank you very much, Chair. Well, I can quite recall this specific petition, and we're just sharing with members of. We were actually gone on site at some point, if I'm not mistaken, in 2023. And at that time, I mean, there was to be an assessment of some other vacant land that was identified by the petitioners. But I think soon after that, there were other encumbrances which led to, well, at least according to the department, there were people that invaded. I'm not so sure whether that is still the case. And I can recall, Metembi, there was a commitment that the department might not be able to move in respect of those developments, you know. And hence the Ruby Ridge, the Allendale recommendations come about. So it's 2 years later that we are accepted that we're looking into both, locations, Ruby Ridge as well as Allendale. So I thought maybe the report would be more updating, you know, so that it's not a reversion of where we started or where we left off at the matter, you know. So the question should be, Since then, where are we, in actualizing this recommendation? So this is not a new recommendation. Have we moved? Have we started to actualize? So that on our part we can close off. Otherwise, it will be repetitive. And of course, we don't get to close a petition at the actual delivery of a housing because all things are considered. I mean, the rollout of the project, it's a resource intensive. We don't know the budgetary planning internal of the department, But so long as there's a commitment, we just maybe need to get a sense of at what point does the department think it could actually start, initiating those relocations, but also the project itself, I really think beyond that would be over milking this specific petition. Thanks.
Thank you so much. I want to check if honorable members, you are fine. So let's allow you to, maybe before that, let's allow the petitioner to come in. But I think I'm comfortable with your clarity-seeking question that I think will then give us a guidance, Member Lutswalo, in terms of how we move. But let's maybe give the petitioner a chance if there's a need for you to seek clarity on what is presented. I mean, also because the assumption is what you would have presented before the committee is something new, but now what you are then presenting to us then gives it a different dynamic. But let's allow the petitioner, then soon after the petitioner, so asimbuzo imibuzo maybe oyithunyiwe nawe ngabantu and then uzokhona ukuthi mabuyele emuva then uyazi ukuthi uphethe impendulo futhi ezinazo nesikhathi ukuthi ukusukela ngalesi sikhathi besihlangene kwabanjena nanjena nanjena sikuphi ke manje.
Good afternoon. If it's in the afternoon, I haven't checked the time. My name is Pusiso Kebashe. Thank you, Chairperson. And let me also thank Mr. Ritsualo and your committee, because if it wasn't for this committee of petitions, we wouldn't be here. We were going to be ignored again. To start with, Chairperson, I'll start by saying 30 years of democracy, but 30 years sitting in a informal settlement. That's one. Two, we have gone from pillar to post, trying to send our messages of frustrations based on this development that has been held since 2016, during the leadership of Councillor Malule Zita. Thanks. This case was actually, the 24 beneficiaries were vetted, or that name, that word that you normally use, screened. We were 24. And in that area where we were supposed to be allocated to, there was not yet, that place was not yet congested. But due to political influences, where our stand was supposed to be allocated to us officially, there were many people that were sent to go and put their checks on top of our stands. We were told by the local municipalities to go and buy pins so that they can be able to install those pins where the stands that belongs to us were supposed to be, but only to find that they allowed people, which is not us. That congestion is not being caused by us. We are the actual beneficiaries that are 24. We cannot send people to go and put more checks on top of where we're supposed to be allocated. Based on those frustrations, we went to different offices, if I can count them, where we are at, that's where our petition came. We went to Premier's office, Mayor's office, Public Protector, including Human Settlement. But up until today, we are still sitting with informal settlement. According to us, according to the look, in as far as our politics of that area are concerned, that place, those stands where we bought pins for us to be allocated, we think that that place is being earmarked for other people, not for us. The issue of those areas that the brother from Human Settlement is talking about we don't actually get into those things where they're talking about rubberage and what. No. We don't belong there. I think the people that belong to be allocated there are the people that have congested on where we're supposed to be, because we are not going to be moved from where we're supposed to be to somewhere else, which means that we will be leaving our stand for some other people. So, I've got, for an example, we've got a colleague here who has been a head of the Department of e-housing, obephethe portfolio ye-housing, esebenzisana nekhansela, okwakuyena owaphasisa late and was handed over to Maluleke to implement ukuthi sithole itende, but Maluleke and his administration failed. That is why sikule state sikusona sihambe yonke leminyango siboleke imali njengana namhlanje siboleke imali ukuthi sibe la futhi. But we are very disappointed. We understand these promises because of the next elections that are next year. Sisazothenjiswa ngeyitende ezingafuni thina, nge-area engafuni thina efuna labantu abakhongestile lapha. Nabanye thina, the 24 people are supposed to be allocated where we're supposed to be allocated, not somewhere else. So,
yeah. Mandikumise tata.
Yeah.
Icimi mic okwangoku. Ndicela into abantu ba uyazi committee uba ayirepresenti bantu abasuka neview yabo epolitiki. It has nothing to do, the work that we are doing as a committee has nothing to do with elections. We're a multi-party committee. And the interest yethu akukubana abantu xa besiselwa inkonzo kukubana kuba kuyiwa evotweni. And ndicinga fana into banibana ne-legislature namalungu alendlu ahlela apha asuka evotweni. So andicinga fana into bana eyevote ezawulandela ngoku isisizathu sento bana manibe niyancedwa. Ndivulela ixesha lento banibana mawube uyabuza kwenzela into baniba sikwazi ukufumana indlela ezonincedisa. I-petition yakho la xesha sikubuza into banibana iyo na besilindele into banina uzuthi ndicinga fanele lena le ayikhavarwanga. Now what you are presenting to us would have given you an opportunity. And ndicinga fanele into banibana isisithuko kwikomiti into ocinga fanele ba umsebenzi esiwenzayo siwenzele into banibana senqwenelela into bana makube kuyavotwa. It can never be, and I think it's wrong. We are doing these hearings because we want to come to a solution that will then be able to assist you. And we've gone back to petitions that date back as far as more than 5 years. Because sifuna ukwenza sure into bana siyakwazi ufumana resolution sidlule kuzo. Ndikakuthembisa into bana zininzi ezinye ezibulolu hlobo, but si decide into bana masiyifumane clarity kulena kungakumbi because it was presented before the committee and there would have been work done. Our interest as the committee is solely the mandate of the legislature, which is oversight. And to ensure into banbana, iphulo lonika abantu izindlu liyenzeka ngokwexesha xa ikhona indlela. So bendicinga fanele into bana when we give you an opportunity uzawubuza kutata uthi nanifikile nathi nanifikile kuthi nathi nohluleka. Bendicinga fanele sikuvulele lo xesha kwenzela into banba ukwazi nathi usincedisa xa sithatha resolution. So I'm assuming that masimnike ixesha lento banba aphendule, and then you'll then come back if you are not satisfied with indlela aphendula ngayo. Ndicela siyenze ngolo hlobo. Aphendule mhlambe uba una imibuzo umzekelo ngoku ezawuthi ikomiti bihleli ngo-2023 yaza kwangagqitywa bathi lo mhlaba wawu-earmarkiwe awukho baphinde babuya kuthi okanye zange baphinde babuya kuthi. Umzekelo laa mbuzo bendiwubuzile bahlali uthi is there any process of the responding authority, the city in this case, mhlambi to check on the 23 if bayafuna uallocate? Ndicinga fanele le ndlela uyithetha ngayo uthi wena nifuni according to if ndikuve kakuhle okanye zange ni engage at all. So masimnike chance tata a respond, but ndifuna into manbana in the spirit, because andithi apha sizo resolve in the spirit of resolving. Ifuna into manbana sinike historic context, but also sikwazi ukuthi sicinga fanele thina into ezasisebenzela ngu1 no3 no4, because umzekelo kwaba bantu bayi-23 ukhona umuntu ona-98 onomnqweno othi mna noba kwenzeka ntoni abantwana bam xa sendingekho mabe nayindlu. So ndifuna siyi-approache ngolo hlobo tatam. But let's give you Butwam for you to come in as to respond to these questions, and then we'll allow him if there's any further question. I think MEC, you would note that some of these petitions are more city-based, but we are bringing you in on board such that you are then able to have an appreciation as you partner with cities. Then you are able to be alive to the realities, and you are then able to plan properly as the new financial year starts.
Thank you, Chairperson. The question by Member Litswalo regarding the progress since the last meeting. Previously, we had made a commitment to target Allendale and Rubber Ridge. Since then, there have been negotiations with the landowner to purchase that piece of land by our colleagues at Province. That piece of land was then devolved to us as the city, and we have since gone out on tender to advertise the spec that we'd like to develop. We've also appointed, we've also had initial engagements with councillors, which happened in this month of February, in the previous month of February. And we did that in preparation to engage communities going forward. So there has been some work done, but obviously the process of acquiring land is quite lengthy, especially because some of these processes are between two different departments, meaning provincial and city. But since the last meeting, which I think was supposed to sit in August 2024, this is the update I can give you regarding the progress. So we have moved forward. Maybe it hasn't seemed like that because these are not items you can see in reality and on the ground, but there is progress moving forward, and we will update you with regards to the milestones that we have planned and achieved in subsequent meetings. I think the gentleman asked a certain question about, or he made a statement saying that they are not willing to move and would prefer that the people that are seen as invaders are moved. And we do note that. I can admit that we should strengthen our stakeholder engagement in this process, and we will engage the community directly before we submit our next report, so that what is captured in that report is accurate and consistent with what the community have agreed to as well. I think when it comes to relocating certain households, we are obviously limited by qualifying criteria for who does get units in certain places. We also just want to discourage the idea of queue jumping, that if you invade a piece of land, you'll be prioritized. So we're also trying to balance dealing with the need that we have and not encouraging queue jumping. But I will admit, Councillor, that the community members could be engaged more robustly, and we will incorporate that into our next report.
So I'm getting that you would have engaged them, and there is strong sense that they don't want to be moved maybe in a different project anywhere else. And can I just check of this number, are they approved on the HSS.
Thank you, Chairperson. So as part of UISP, we've also appointed HDA to do stage 2. Stage 2 is basically, it has many activities, but one of them is the enumeration of households, which will collect that information. That information is what we will screen to see who's qualifying and who's not qualifying. So that process is going to be starting soon as well. We've engaged the councillors. We had a meeting as recently as Tuesday with Councillor Maluleke as well, explaining some of the legal issues with the land portion that we're sorting out. So now that we've initially engaged the councillors, we will start our engagements with community members. Our first meeting is, in fact, in the following week in Ward 111, and then we will roll out the program like that.
No, thank you so much, honourable members. Not sure if you would want to come in at this stage, but in here, especially on the profiling, at least just to have an idea, even if it's not the process itself. I mean, and of course, we don't encourage the queue jumping, as you're correctly putting it, because abantu abangathatha umhlaba ngowabo bacinga fanele abantu bazawunikwa izindlu. But when there has been a process and also you have appeared before the committee, then there would be some sort of resolutions that then speaks to how you must then fast track. But we in the absence of the hands and of clarity from the honourable members, let's give you that at the last remarks before we close on this petition.
Yeah, yeah, it's disappointing, Chairman, because le issue yalabantu abakhuluma ngabo abaningi kuneyitende lapha ezihamba ezawufakwa amaphini for ukuthi bayophungula lapho kuzokumele kusale khona abantu. Sathunywa ukuthi sihambe soba identify. For an example, last phuma khona sithwe phuma abantu abayi-12 for an example kuleyo ndawo leyo. Kumele kuphume labantu labayongena la siphuma khona. Then kwahanjwa kwayobhekwa open spaces ezingakwazi ukuthi ziyo accommodate labantu abazophungulwa ngale kusale labantu abayi-24 ngaphandle kwalama land akhuluma ngawo wakuphi kuphi around us lapho sikhona lapho sizobe sishifta khona siya ey'tendeni zethu labantu baphuma bayongena lapho, which is very simple. Untathu babultswalo beza bazoyisheka bayibona lo baphinde ba-identifya amalongjana nathi longjana kusho ukuthi ipetition le abanikeza ukuthi bayifunde beyichaza yonke le information la ichaza yonke lezo ibase zi-available nanamhlanje zonke lezo ibase lezo ebangenza ngayo isystem yokuthi kuvuleke ibase lapha ya sengisho ukuthi le ibase lezi esivulile sathenga amaphini bada sithenga amaphini siyoyifaka kwenzakalene emuva kwalokho lu akwenzanga lokuthi manje bazosifaka kuliya longjana edinga the whole region A sina 60 yama informal settlement asazi ukuthi size silandele nini mabe sakhuluma ngeland abasayinegotiate kumanje while kunama pins abekwa kwashiwa open spaces for them to do the job.
Amaphini ngawani?
Amaphini sisi babezama ukuza ne-alternative. What can they do to reduce that congestion so that lapho kwafakwa khona amaphini for iy'tende ezi-24 kuzokwazi ukuphunguka abantu? Angazi noma uyangi-understanda yini la.
Maybe let's get it from the department. But safe to say we only deal with one petitioner. Kahle kahle bekumele ukuthi alawanga nokuthi nihlale emva ngoba ngiyambona nimbhalela ama notes. Nina bekumele ukuthi nihleli lapha yana. I-petition sizo allow baba kuphela. Ibe uyena onukhulumelayo. Ngiyanibona niyabhala ama notes ngamane nimnikeza. But ngoba seselana ngicela ukuthi sivumele yena ukuthi sikhulume naye. Let's allow you.
Thank you.
Akusebenzi kanjalo sis.
Okay, thank you, Chairperson.
Maybe as a reporter, but sizodila naye for lana. Ungamsebenzela ekuqaleni, but let's get this response. And then sizovala kule petition guided by the information before us.
Okay, thank you, Chairperson. In the previous report, it was stated that these portions of land that were identified had certain challenges, things such as opposition from neighboring communities and other restrictions. I think what I can commit to, Chairperson, not to labor on this point, is to revisit these portions. I myself was not there, but that is not a matter to be discussed here. It's more of an internal issue. But I will go with the petitioners. We will profile the land, and we will give them feedback saying that it is possible, not possible. If it is possible, we'll give them reasons. If it's not possible, we'll give them reasons, which we'll write into our report. And if it is possible, then we'll plan a new way forward for those households, Chairperson.
No, thank you so much. I think we have overmilked the petition. I do not know, honorable members. I'm tempted to... It's just that if there is no willingness to move elsewhere, it could be difficult for you to then link them even to the projects of the identified lands. And also the profiling that you are also speaking to could also be a lengthy process. So it's quite a very difficult, but the reality is, as a committee, we may want to give you propose to the city, different possibilities. But if you are not satisfied, then really it becomes extremely difficult, honorable members. But I want to close on this petition. Maybe ngoba ngiyabona ngathi babufuna ukukhuluma before ngiyivale. Sikunikeze ukuthi there could be a recommendation which I think you are not comfortable with, and I am suspecting maybe all of you. Without even encouraging ukuthi kunoku, you know, there would be a process ukuthi because umuntu uzile committee kumele prioritize. Akumelanga ukuthi committee sebenziswe kanjalo ngithi ngoba even the department and the city would have its processes. The assumption is that of this 23, akekho umuntu approve leyo kuni okanye ikhona process apho nizazi into abantwana nina ni approved khona. So maybe you can speak to that, because according to this report, it means that they must then start the profiling yenu yalaba bantu bakhuluma ngabo. So ni approve that niyayazi into abantwana ni approve for izindlu noba kuphi mhlambi nina
ngokusho kwabo Cheleli si approve ngokusho kwabo ukufaka kwaba ama pins lawa yalapha kule itende nokusiveta leyanto yabo labayenza nithi yini leyanto yesilungu screening ukuscreena lokho ukuscreena lokho ikhona kwasinikeza ithemba lokuthi kushuthileza itende sesiyitholile. Yingakho kwathiwa sihambe so identifier kulezi indawo eyi-open abazokwazi ukuyophungula lapha so that bezosinikeza le itende ngokusemthethweni. Manje angiyazi ukuthi yini ebabambile.
Maybe let's close on this petition. That MEC, there needs to be more of stakeholder engagements that are able to speak to the level of our people. Because we're sitting there unapproved, there's not even been a process of profiling of who they are. And when there is an attempt by the department, they would, and it's safe to assume because you'd think, okay, these are officials, and most probably if Bafaga, I group up MEC, they were saying, if Bafaga is Konkwane, it means this is where Yati Akwihamba Kon. Right? And Nabani or any citizen would assume that if goodness Konkwane ngobu babashu, ushuti kahle kahle yadi yami ihamba lana. And it's an assumption up until it is properly communicated to our people will believe that assumption to be true. So there is more work that needs to be done in relation to, and I think this particular community, because it's not a big community, must then be prioritized. But number two, Baba, you may need to look into an option, Bahlal. If there's an intervention and would want to propose MEC and your team and the city, if kukhona pho ningaswa khona, ndiyanicela nami ndingu-chairperson wale committee into yobana ze nikwazi uyivumela. Ngoba la mhlaba nihleli kuwo ngangapasi mhlawumbi idlule le project kuthethwa ngayo nibe ningalinkwanga kuyo. But also what we would want to propose as a committee that maybe let's start the screening process, which will also then inform of other live projects and the project that we are speaking to, because what you are reporting to us is that, in fact, even a project, if the screening process had not started, it could be for others who have then been screened and linked to the project. Now, ndo yiki into abantu banishiya zininzi ngoba ninezikhonkwane nicinga fani bani izindlu zenu zimele bazikuloo ndawo kanti urhulumente kangakwazi uyicacisa loo nto leyo kuni kakuhle. So I would want to propose, it looks like we're going to have to, member Diech, we're going to have to appoint a lot of reporters to deal with these particular petitions in this internal hearing, because they remain progress reports. There is no tangible right away solution. I mean, we can decide to say we close, we know that there is land, but we're also noting that it means of the, and this is a loophole, honorable members and the support staff, that we also need to look into. And I think I'd proposed this to Mbuli. MEC, maybe we may need to be empowered as part of the petitions management section, that we assume while receiving 70% of the petitions that are from human settlements, and it could be that we're dealing with people that have not even been profiled, that are not on the HSS, and there's no process that would have been done. So it weakens the work of the committee, but also we sit here unempowered. And the only conviction we have is that abantu bethu sifuna isidima sezindlu babe nazo, but there is a law and a process. And asikwazi ke thina ke ngokubana sihlale sithi mabajambe ithu, but there must be something eyenzwayo to improve ubomi babo. So yona nto ndinicengayo tatam into bana uba zikhona ezinye abacinga fanele banganithembisa, ndiyanicela uba niyiconsiderishe loo nto leyo, but obviously kufuneka ubuyele ebantwini bakho ubacenge ubabonise. I-23 ayona namba enkulu, inamba endicinga fanele into bana xa ninothethisana even with the partnership ne-department, provincial department, mhlawumbi angakwazi u-MEC even kulaa 10% yakhe asisikele akwazi unibona uba unifaka phi. But let's get a written report of everything that we have presented to us. Let's start the screening process. Singahlali kanti sihleli nabantu. You know, we went MEC to attend to a petition in Ekurhuleni, and when we got there, we realized that we had entertained a petition of someone who was not South African. So it becomes, so it also needs, we need to strengthen as well as a committee, because we are dealing with this. It has been with us, but also us bangobani in terms of inkonzo bekumele zinikwa nina ningabantu bapha. So mabayiqala process ningathi ni-approve ngenxa yezikhonkwane, ni-approve ivele systemini into bana umuntu uyakwazi nozijonga ku-HSS xa i-approve kuthiwe u-approve, akwenziwa njalo emeetingini yaseparlamente. Sizawucela ke kodwa as well, as part of the report hearing process, that we must engage the councillor, because it could be that, you know, when yourselves as administrators you are presenting, and the councillor as well must then be able to communicate some of the efforts and the resolutions of council in relation to this matter. So ndiyacela into bana siyivale ngelithi we will be in touch with you as well, and the councillor, because there's a need for a community meeting that must also clarify the plans with timelines. Kwenzela into bana niyayikhaba into yakwenye indawo ibe recorded, nathi ke ngosizothi besicinga fanele ba singanceda sifika apha but then siyohlulakala. So ndiyacela ba siyivale ngelitshoyo for now, and then we'll then be in touch with yourself. This report sharing process, maybe you must be clear that akuhambi i-support staff yodwa, izawuhamba no member okhoyo we-committee, and if there's a need for someone from the department to join that report sharing system to assist and fast track maybe the process, or rather to give clarity, we do that. So ndicela siyivale ngolo hlobo. Siyabulela kakhulu. Can we then move to the next petition?
Thank you, Chair. The next one, Chair, is a request for title deed. It was submitted last year, Chair, with the registration number PP98C/1024LO, and the petitioner is Mr. Victor Nzima, an adult male who resides at 11 Malta Road, Naturena, who alleges that in 2001 he purchased a property, R5456, located in Emdeni, from Mr. Mbata, which was subsequently registered at the deeds office with that deeds number on March 6, 2002. The registration process was carried out by Sneyman Incorporated attorneys who were appointed by the Department of Human Settlement. He states that over the years, he has visited the deeds office where he was informed that the property is now registered under City of Johannesburg. Previous deed searches indicated that the property is registered in his name. However, a title deed has not been issued in his name. Chair, the petition was before the committee, adopted, referred to both City and the department on the 25th of October 2024. I must also indicate, Chair, that the department has submitted a written report that has been signed. It is before the committee. Thank you, Chair.
No, thank you so much. I think let's then allow the department to go through the report.
Thank you, Chairperson, MEC, members of the committee, petitioners and colleagues, good afternoon. I'll introduce myself again. My name is Zanele Lula. I'm from the Gauteng Department of Human Settlements and I'm responsible for title deeds registration. We have prepared a response that was signed by the MEC, but we have also sent a PowerPoint presentation that summarizes and indicates what we have done since we have received the petition. So in this case, there are two properties that are mentioned in the petition. They are both in Umdeni South. The first one is R5372. I'm not going to dwell much on this one because it's not the cause of unhappiness. This particular property, it used to be owned by Mr. Nzima's parents, and the ownership is now with Mr. Victor Nzima, who's the petitioner. So we are not going to dwell on it. The second property is R5456, which Mr. Nzima alludes he bought from Mr. Mbata. The two properties, as Mr. Nzima had indicated, they were once held under one title. Two properties, separate properties, but held under one title. However, the deeds office, upon discovering the error, because according to the Deeds Act, properties are unique, so you cannot register more than one property under one title. So apparently the deeds registry discovered that they had made a mistake by registering two properties under one title number. So they decided to do a cancellation to correct the error. So as a result, the property that we are discussing, 5456, the ownership reverted to COJ. And the other property, which used to be Mr. Nzima's parents' property, it remained with Mr. Nzima. So I'm going to just indicate and list what we have done since we received the petition. A meeting was held with Mr. Nzima at Mdini CCC. It was in October 2024. A follow-up meeting was held with Mr. Nzima at 129 Fox Street in November 2024. Then we had a meeting with Ms. Tinswalo Mdlovan from the deeds registry. The meeting was held at Marble Towers. We then did conducted a deed searches so that we can be informed when we are advising or reporting to the committee. We also did a council file perusal, also to ensure that our report is informed. And then we also consulted with the City of Johannesburg on the matter. The findings, Chairperson, Ms. Mdlovan, from the meeting that we had with her, confirmed the cancellation And she also indicated that there is a provision that allows the deeds registry to do a cancellation without having to go through the High Court. We know that in most cases for a cancellation to be done, we have to go through the High Court. But Ms. Ndlovane confirmed that the deeds registry has a provision that allows them to cancel a title deed, especially where 2 or more properties are held under one title, as is the case with the matter that is reported by Mr. Nzima. And then, as I indicated before, upon cancellation, the ownership reverted back to the city of Johannesburg. And Ms. Ndlovane confirmed that the information was shared with Mr. Nzima, because Mr. Nzima had been asking how did they manage to cancel without consulting him. And then furthermore, when we did the cancel perusal as GDHS officials, we noticed that Mr. Mbata, that Mr. Nzima is alluding that he bought the property from, we saw that Mr. Mbata is not in the council file, but in the council file, there is a family that had a permit to occupy, and the family in the name of Ladla. It's the Ladlas. We found that the permit to occupy had the name of Mr. Ladla and not Mr. Mbata, who sold the house to Mr. Nzima. So in concluding, Chairperson, yes, as the department, GDHS, we are mandated through the Conversion Act of Citizen Rights into Leasehold and Ownership Act 81 of 1988 to confer freehold of full ownership to rightful beneficiaries of old stock. However, since the property is in the name of the city of Johannesburg, we'll have to be advised by the city of Johannesburg whether they are confirming that we can facilitate for transfer of this property to Mr. Nzima. And we had advised Mr. Nzima to visit the city of Johannesburg so that he can talk to the city of Johannesburg, and then they can confirm with us that we can appoint a conveyancer. We've got a panel of conveyancers as the department, whether we can appoint one of the members in the panel to facilitate the transfer of the property. We spoke to Mr. Pule Ritsang from the city of Johannesburg, who said they will be expecting Mr. Nzima to come and discuss the matter with him. Thank you.
And there's no one from the city to speak to that now.
Chair, not to the particulars of the case. Mr. Rietsang is a colleague of ours at Finance. Is not in the meeting. I'm not sure. I don't think he was expecting that he would be responding to the matter. But mine would be to just get details and maybe get the petitioner's details so that I can link him up with the relevant colleagues from Rietsang's office. I'm not sure if he has been. Maybe he can also guide so that we know how to direct him further. Thank you.
No, thanks. I think the report, MEC, we must commend your department. It's quite very progressive. I know that we would have received, honorable members, just when we got to this particular term, this administration, this petition, and it was quite very confusing, and we felt at that time we were sending it to the city, but also advised to send it to the department. But I think what we are presenting to us is progressive, and that there is really a willingness from the side of the city and yourselves, informed as well by the work that and the findings as well that you would have that before you. But let's allow you, Dada, just to come in. But I think what they are presenting to us, Niki Temba, but also safe to say, will also link us that you can then link to ensure in Dobanbana, at least in the next 14 days, we're able to get a progress. I don't think it would be difficult to go to the city. Just in case we have a different version, that. But I think what we're getting here is quite very progressive, and let's allow you that opportunity.
Thank you, Chair. I'm not even certain how much time do I have to respond to this. But I would like to negate everything, all what I think Ma'am Dludla, she has said up until this far. I'm just hearing for the first time. As it was the case for me to discover the amendment of the title deed from my name into the city of Johannesburg. But I would like to clarify this. I'm not a conveyancer. But my background gives me some leeway into understanding of the property registration. The property 5456 in Emden, that's my own property. The property 5372 is my parent house, who are deceased, both of them. My mother just died now in 2021. My father passed on in 1988. Now, in 2015,